If you've seen any of my recent trends videos, I have been obsessed with these 3D flowers and all the appliques, so that's the inspiration for this first Pinterest dress. I found this pattern on Etsy. It seemed super beginner friendly, and it was. So if you are looking for a really nice beginner friendly sewing pattern, I highly recommend this one. It was really quick and easy to make. I followed the instructions mostly. However, I did make some changes. The fabric that I chose for this dress, it's just like see-through enough that it needs something under, otherwise it's just too scandalous for me personally. This pattern only had a facing, so I did the facing of the dress in my fashion fabric because with these ties, you know, because they're tied on my shoulders, you see the bottom and the top of them. So I followed that, but however, I didn't have enough of my fashion fabric for making a whole lining. So I just went ahead and used this pink cotton bed sheet to line the rest of the dress so it wasn't see-through. I was incredibly lazy about hemming this. If there's one thing that I hate so much about sewing, it's seam ripping and doing hems. I finished the edge of the hem just with an overlock stitch, and then I just ironed like one fold. I could have ironed a second fold to make like this part like tucked in too, but like I was over ironing, I think at this point, or I don't know. I just didn't do that. I just folded about 1 inch into the garment and then just stitched from there. The crazy part of this was all of these flowers that I put on. I just like to embellish stuff. I think it's really fun. I think it makes clothes just like more exciting and it makes me happy. And I had the perfect pink color flowers to match this dress. They came on like a strand of tulle and I cut them all out and then I had to sew them individually on. This was not the prettiest thing that I've ever done. On the inside of the dress, you can really see how like unspecific I was just trying to tack these down. I also was on a little bit of a deadline. I had finished the dress, but I hadn't sewed the flowers on. My boyfriend and I had like an hour before dinner reservation, so I was just like in a mad dash to get them on. I was not paying attention at all to making it super uniform and perfect, but also I didn't really find it necessary to do that anyways. I was kind of more just going for like, make sure they're secure because nobody is gonna be flipping my dress inside out to look at how horrible my stitching was. Except I just totally showed all you guys, and you know, it is what it is. I think all the flowers on this are so fun, and especially with a really simple silhouette, I think it's just so much more fun to add like a little sparkle or flower or embellishment or whatever it is, because it just makes the garment a little bit more exciting. One thing that I would change if I were to make this dress again, which I would love to make this dress again because I think it's super, super cute. Right where the tie is, there's just a little bit extra fabric where the underarm is. With making it again, I definitely would like to take out a little bit of the fabric on the side just because it was kind of bulky and it just like wrinkled and it didn't have a purpose. It was just like extra fabric. So that is something that I would change with this one. Also, hi, my name is Katie. I make fashion and sewing content here on YouTube. So if that interests you, I highly suggest you hit that subscribe button and join our fashion family. Anyways, back to the video. This fabric that I used for this next project was a huge score. And the second I saw this, I had a vision for this dress. I knew that when I saw this fabric, I wanted like a tailored, form-fitted, but still very like flattering. I saw this pattern on Etsy and I thought it was perfect. This one runs small. After I cut out the fabric, I was like, okay, this is gonna be a little dress. And so I think that I gave myself a little bit more grace with the seam allowance, and I'm happy that I did because she fits. She's not like too small or anything. This pattern, I think it originally just came with a facing, but I wanted it to be fully lined, and I had just like some simple yellow lining fabric lying around, so that's what I chose to use. This dress was incredibly simple to put together, and a little tip that I have, understitching is really important. So after I sewed the lining to the dress, I opened the fashion fabric and the lining fabric, and I took all of the seam allowance and I pulled it under to where the lining is, and then you stitch on top of that. So on the inside of the garment, you can see that there is a little stitch right there, but it's not on the outside of the garment. What this does is this pulls the lining fabric inside of the garment, so the lining fabric doesn't poke out. I think in terms of following the pattern instructions, I think I mostly followed it, but when it comes to sewing, there's no right or wrong really way to do anything. It's kind of just whatever method works best for you. So I just kind of went in a way that like made sense to me, but I am so obsessed with how this came out. I think there's like a couple things that are a little off. I think one of my darts is like longer than the other one. So as I was just, you know, scouring the internet for patterns, I found this belt bag and I was like, oh my God, that's so cute. I have like some beaded tulle fabric that I feel like I could just lay on top, and then I can wear the dress with the belt bag or not. This was my first time ever sewing an accessory, which was so fun. This tulle that I have, it has these beads, it has this sequence, it's so beautiful. I bought it a really long time ago, but I've been intimidated to work with it because with beads, what you're supposed to do is unthread some of the beads to like where the seam allowance is and then like tie it off. But I didn't do that. I just chose to like shove this beaded fabric through my sewing machine, and it sucked. It was such a bad time because of how I chose to make it. Like I did it actually wrong. I just was breaking needles. There were beads flying all over my sewing room. It was an absolute disaster. Also, something that I did that I don't necessarily like is I used an invisible zipper, but I didn't install it how you normally would an invisible zipper. I didn't make it invisible. Like she is fully exposed. So I wish that I had a normal zipper for this, but I was just kind of using materials that I already. But I love this outfit when it's together with the belt bag. I feel like it's so cute. It adds like functional glamour to the outfit, which is so fun. I'm a sucker for sparkles. I'm a sucker for embellishments. This is seriously the dress of my dreams, and I'm so excited to wear this out in real life. I think this one is my favorite one from the whole video. I don't know, that's hard to say though, because I really like everything that I've made. Okay, let's get to the next one. The crochet trend just has had me in a chokehold. I think it is so beautiful. It's just made me so excited to make this dress. And then I made that trends video, and after it, I was like, I need this dress. I need this dress so bad. This one was a challenge for sure. Basically, the thing that I was most concerned about is making sure all of the horizontal lines of the dress lined up. The entire garment, all the side seams, all of the princess seams, all like everything. This one was just hard for that reason. Sewing this crochet fabric was not an easy task at all, and as I like brought it to the sewing machine, I was like, oh my God, like, okay, I can't like sew it. This is like an open knit, like what am I gonna do? And so I actually chose to make a lot of bias tape out of the lining fabric, which was just an old bed sheet. Basically what I did for all of the seams of the fashion fabric of the top layer of the dress, the shell of the dress, was I just used bias tape to finish all of the seams, and I did not do a perfect job. It was half laziness and then half because like the crochet fabric was like low-key hard to work with. But I basically just like sewed the seam with the bias tape, and then I used my iron to fold over the bias tape, and then I did another stitch along the edge of the bias tape to close it. Once I had the outer shell completely done, doing the lining was incredibly simple. I just cut out the same pattern on a bed sheet, and then I sewed it together, I understitched, and then I enclosed the lining around the invisible zipper on the side as well. This pattern also runs small, so I was like, okay. I think she left a 1/2 inch of seam allowance for the pattern, but I definitely used like, I don't know, probably a centimeter for my seam allowance. The pattern straps were super long, and like I mentioned, I love anything that's extra, and so I thought that these straps would look so cute dangling down. Like, I thought that it would almost mimic the granny squares in the fabric, and I totally love how long and flowy they are. I feel like they look so cute, and it just gives this dress, like, because this is, let's be honest, this is a very simple dress. It's the fabric that's fun, and so I was like, I want to give it like a little bit extra, and so I thought that like with the straps just hanging out like that, it would do just that. And so I thought that that was just like a fun detail that I chose to do. This will be such a fun piece for summer. I'm so excited to wear this summer. I just feel like it's so darling for a little day out, whether it's getting lunch or going shopping or just, you know, iced coffee, hanging out with the girls. I feel like that dress is just gonna be. This next one was a little bit of a fail. It was a 50% fail because I wanted like a 2-piece set, and I saw this fabric at Joann's. I feel like it would be such a cute short and shirt set. I made the shorts first, and I've made this short pattern before. It has not been my favorite pattern. One of the things that I don't like about it is how high-waisted it is. And when I made it before in my shirt DIY video, I cut off a lot of the inseam because they were like, just like gross high-waisted. I don't know why I didn't do that for this one. I just followed the pattern, like full knowing what I was doing. But I was like, oh, it'll be fine. Like, we'll just see how it comes out. And I feel like the shorts are a little too long, and they're way too high-waisted. I basically made the shorts twice, like one in this like see-through stretchy elastic fabric, and then I made it with a cotton poplin fabric for the lining. I'm just so mad that like they came out bad. I'm gonna have to, I'll resurrect these. Anyways, we're just gonna move on from that one and talk about this shirt. I found this pattern. I love the wide sleeve. I love the bows. It has like a little bit of shape to the waist. Like, it's not super oversized in the body. So I was like, this is exactly what I had in mind. And I cut out the pattern fully in this fabric. And again, the thing that I was so focused on was lining everything up and making sure all of these stripes were exactly perfect. That's the hard part of working with a pattern, is cutting. But if you cut it right, it's gonna look so good. For this one, I wanted it to be like really open, and so the original pattern is fully lined, but I only chose to line the front panel just so I wouldn't need to like wear a bra or something with it. Basically, for the front panel, I just stitched along the neckline and down the center front with the straps tucked in as well. So I just like sewed everything in. I understitched the whole thing. Something I also did though was for the back neck. As I was about to sew the front and the back together, I was like, oh my God, I need to like finish that. So I just made some bias tape really quick, and I just did a bias facing. Love how that came out. I feel like it looks a little professional. By some kind of miracle, when I finished this project and I tried it on, it looked exactly how I had envisioned it. I am so happy with how this top looks. Obviously together as a set, like, I need to fix those shorts. But I feel like this top just styled with like literally anything. I think like the other day I wore this top with a pair of denim shorts and I got so many compliments, and like it's so cute. I think one of the best parts about learning how to sew is I feel like I've gotten to know myself and my style so much more, and I'm just having the best time like bringing these ideas and visions into life and quite literally making my own dream closet. It is so special to me, and I so appreciate you guys joining along for the journey. I can't even begin to express my gratitude for all my YouTube friends. You guys bring me so much joy. And thank you so much for being here and hanging out with me. And until next time, bye friends.